Today, I would like to welcome Mr. Yogesh Gupta, Managing Director, Megaa Moda Private Limited. He's a rank holder, chartered accountant by qualification, but a businessman by profession. He has been into business of exports for over 22 years now, having vast experience in the export business, enabling to grow from scratch to a 200 crore business in the marine sector. He is a he has a renowned seafood processing plant in eastern India. His company is a two-star export house and holds international certifications. His company has been awarded numerous awards over the past 9 years in the field of operation, including the recent India's Top Exporter MSME 2021, awarded by Economic Times Rice, Leading SME of India, awarded by Dun& and Bradstreet 2021, winner of the Food Processing and Agro Product Sector by D&B 2021, winner Gold Trophy Export House twice from FIEO, and also won the India SME 100 Awards. An earlier stint in leather goods also enabled him to gather the nuances of business trades, including the various laws and regulations that govern the export business. Apart from business, he is very active in various chambers, associations, and social organizations, and has also held numerous posts at various stages of life. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhavya.
Now, I would like to invite our host for today, Mr. Vinod Kumar, President, India SME Forum. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bhavya, and a warm welcome, Yogesh ji. It's such a pleasure to see you live.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vinod.
Hopefully, we should be able to get over this pandemic now, and we should be able to see each other very soon again.
Yeah,
And
yes, and I'm very, very bullish on this year. This is the V recovery, and we'll be up there moving ahead.
a lot of our people are interested in figuring out a lot of our awardees in the past. That why have we given them awards? Why are they special? And what I want to share with most of our audiences here is that some people take this responsibility of setting up an enterprise and then not just looking at the national mainstream in terms of how do we fuel the economy, but also how do we provide the much needed jobs that are required today in India, and with that enable farmers, enable small groups, enable clusters in every part of the country. So here today we have Yogesh ji, who is exactly a man that I would say most of us should emulate in business. So Yogesh ji, first question which most people would have asked you is, what is it that made you start this company in the first place? You were a qualified chartered accountant. You would have easily got into a large company or set up your own service, practice. Why did you look at setting up a corporation?
Frankly speaking, I belong to a business family. My father was a businessman, although he was doing a very small business at those times. And in the 80s, the fad was to become to join CA, and we all became CA that time. But my interest has always been to be an entrepreneur, and so it didn't take me a second thought to continue this journey of business and do something different from what my father was doing at that point of time.
So the fact that your family was into business itself, did it make life easier, or was it more difficult? Because then it was like you have to get into the same business your father is doing and then try and grow that, or there's also a certain amount of pressure when you're joining your father's company or taking the business further.
Yes, of course, that pressure was there, and I did join my father in his business. But when I saw my father working there and in whatever capacity he was working, I realized that until unless I do something different and until unless I venture out differently, we will not be able to grow. And that's when this export business started, and then I moved out. We are purely an MSME working locally in Calcutta. There's nothing, no iota of export. But my curiosity and my desire to be an exporter moved me into this field.
We talk to a lot of people and tell them that, as MSMEs, they need to look at the international market. They need to look at the potential that is there across the world rather than just be focused on your local markets. So, you took this first step of going beyond the local market and looking at export. How did that happen?
It is something which my passion had been traveling, and I wanted to travel all around the world, and nothing could have taken me outside India if I had no business to look outside India. So while I was exporting it, it gave me an opportunity to travel most of the countries, and believe me, I've traveled must have traveled to over 25, 30 countries by now. So basically, with the business, my passion was also being taken care of.
And gradually, when you look back at the time that you started your business, specifically into exports, exports was a very challenging field. you know Information was not available, not many, and we also had these regimes where, they said you need to export only if you have a license, you need to be a registered exporter, and then there are so many challenges that were there in front. So was it a very easy decision for you, or how difficult, and what sort of challenges did you face?
So one thing I would say that even if there were challenges, there were quite a number of big exporters out of India. So if they could take the challenge, why not me?
Why not?
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's the motivating factor, and believe me, I'm regretting I went into export business much later. I started sometime in 2000, in the year 2000. Had I been into exports earlier, maybe I would have made more profits. But from 2000 onwards, business profits had come down, but the volumes are much bigger than the domestic market.
So what you're saying is that, for anybody to look at a possibility of higher productivity, higher profitability, exports is something that everybody needs to do.
Yes, domestic market is also good, but what I'm saying, if you are looking at volumes, that is one area because you have more customers, more buyers, and it improves your own quality. Your own product gets improved because they also teach you what product will sell in the market. So it's a learning experience as well because what we have been doing in India, maybe the export market will not take it. So once you start exporting, your own thought process changes and your volumes are going up.
So you talked about volumes, you talked about productivity and also profitability. In terms of the difference, let us say, for example, a small entrepreneur in India, is already working in the Indian market. What are the difference that you feel between the market in India and the market overseas in terms of standards, in terms of quotas, and so many things that one needs to be careful about.
That what I would say, the profits may not be very large in the export market. They're almost now equal to your domestic market. But what happens when you start making better products and you find more customers, more buyers, so your own capacity starts increasing, and then if your volumes are increasing, your absolute term profits are increasing. So that's no doubt about that.
And is it easier? On one hand, we talk about when in India we need to spread our wings, we need to grow bit by bit. Finance becomes very difficult because you need to find collateral for everything that you are doing. And comparing that to exports, is it same, or is it more difficult, or is it easier?
It depends. Like getting finance, even for domestic business, is not that easy. Leave aside export, but yes, when you're exporting and you have orders and when you're rolling, bankers look at you in a better way because they know that you have been performing. Yes, on day one you may not get the finance, but sometime when your orders are there and you're growing and your goods are being accepted, bankers also support you.
So, in terms of your own experiences, today you are part of a group that is basically making India as the second largest aquaculture and fish producer in the world, and the fourth largest seafood exporter in the world. So, when you look back, what do you think are the opportunities which we've still not looked at worldwide in terms of both marine or the entire blue revolution for that matter?
Well, I would say that the current government is very, very proactive, and they have taken this very on a high pedestal, because government has announced a Matsya Yojana for development of the farmers, because that is the people who need to be supported. Like, it's not only agriculture; it is also the marine farmers which are below the poverty line. So this scheme of the government of India is helping the farmers. And let me tell you, the growth in farming, seafood farming, and aquaculture is 15% year on year, and we are still expecting it to grow for the next at least 10-15 years. India has a very big coastline. It is still unexplored. So the government is really helping those farmers. And as farmers' growth happens, the processors, the exporters have to come into the picture. Otherwise, who will consume?
Excellent. So, what are your plans at Mega Moda for? We talk about, India has the potential of becoming the largest seafood exporter. Because of our large coastline, because of the possibilities, because of the fact that we have lands which are much lesser productive in terms of what the aqua revolution or the blue revolution can do. Also, at the same time, we have loads and loads of people that are available for helping in processing and packing and all of that. So what are your plans from now for the next 5-10 years?
Well, right now we are into processing. Like, we are buying from the farmers. We have our set group of farmers whom we support, and these farmers, I would say, they support me in exporting their products, and we have got a good market all over the world. So this time, we in Mega Moda, we are actually planning to promote Make in India, and we are trying to promote the Indian brand to be sold abroad. Let me apprise you that we are one of the few lucky ones in the marine sector who had been given this PLI grant for Indian brands to be promoted abroad. And we are going to really promote our own brand and try to sell a brand which is purely Indian. So that's my future plan.
And what would it translate to in terms of backward integration, in terms of getting more and more farmers on board, getting more farmers to have ponds, fish ponds, and shrimp farms and all that?
When you are selling more in the international market, the fish farmers, they come to you, and the government is promoting these farmers. They are helping them out with lot of incentives and subsidies for the equipments. And the farmers also need processors who can really process and sell it to the world market. So it's a win-win situation for the back end as well as the front end. So that's what we come into the picture.
One of the things that most people have talked to me about is it's very difficult to find a importer in a developed market who implies trust at the very first outset, on a supplier from India, and saying that, okay, why don't you send in? And how did you overcome that barrier?
Uh, yes, definitely it is tough, but then you really need to keep working on this. And sometimes you have to visit, meet them, convince them, and keep on sending emails and your brochures, and keep talking to them. So these someday will give results. So we have to continuously try. Our company, like, one more thing which we had done, that we got all the certifications required in these importing countries. Once you're certified, your credibility is automatically built up. So we leverage that credibility.
Is there a certain amount of support offered by the government for this certification, specifically for international markets, or you did it on your own?
We did it on our own. There were some schemes with MPDA, which is our governing council, who did fund us initially. Otherwise, it's on your own at the moment.
And when you talk about, let's say, a high growth market, we're growing 15% year on year in terms of our output. What do you think India would need in the next decade, maybe, if we are looking at being the number one exporter or producer, in terms of infrastructure, which the current dispensation, the government, Mr. Narendra Modi's government has been laying a lot of stress on, developing industrial and agriculture infrastructure around the country?
Precisely what you said. The Indian government has understood this very prominently, that we must grow bigger, and to replace the Chinese suppliers, we have to become bigger. And this is why the PLI scheme has been brought in. And under this PLI scheme, the government is giving incentives to large producers to become even large, and this will give at least more percentage of market. So this is what the government is doing, and we are happy that they are doing it. This does not mean that they are not supporting the MSMEs. The MSMEs are also being benefited. If the larger PLI, with the help of PLI, the larger companies are becoming larger, the MSME also becomes benefited, because they become subsidiaries or supporting industries to the large. If the economy grows overall, everybody grows.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we've been discussing with MPEDA and the other agencies on how we can look at the possibilities in terms of where the potential is, and it looks like we are at the crux of actually breaking into a market which can actually make us the world's number one. Apart from few, I would say countries like Ecuador, or South American countries which are also pushing for markets and all that. But ultimately it would be about staying abreast of technology, staying abreast of the latest techniques, of getting the right feeds in place, and trying to create the feeds here in India. So a lot of things that are actually required to be at the top of the market as far as exports are concerned. But you
Mr. Vinod, what I would point out here is that, like, what Indian exporters need to do is move towards value addition. We are very low on value addition. If we can get into value addition, we are nothing to be scared about Ecuador. Ecuador may be galloping at a faster pace, and in today's scenario, they are doing better because the freights from India are much higher. But that
yes.
that may not be true in the long run. So in the meanwhile, if India can get into value-added products, we are sure we'll retain the leadership position.
While exporting, and being a star export house, uh, you've then taken the plunge and said that I'm going to look at the Indian market also. So your products are available at Spencer's, Big Bazaar, and all that. So how did you make that shift? Because you already had a big enough market globally.
So if your product is good, why should India be deprived about your good product? So that's one consideration. But believe me, the fooding habits are changing in India now. Earlier, people used to go to bazaar and buy from the roadside markets, but now the patterns are changing. We also need frozen food, and they are growing in a big scale. Pandemic has accelerated this sector, the frozen food sector. So we should not be left behind. So that's why we are entering into the domestic market as well.
Yeah, and I've also seen studies which talk about the sort of potential when we are talking about food habits, the potential that there is in India, for because this is very high protein, shrimps and all, they're very high protein foods. So in terms of where we are on the food scale, in terms of our nutritional needs, and compare that to if we can have all sorts of finally the smallest of the product or low quality product does not get exported. So there seems to be a great potential if the government, all the producers get together and run a campaign, maybe sort of a campaign like what we saw earlier through the egg board, which was Rose Khao Ande, Sunday ke Sunday.
Right, yes.
So are you looking at something like that happening in India too?
Yes, we are, because in MPDA, who is the governing body for all marine product exports, such discussions are already on, and quite very soon we'll see such kind of campaign will come up. Discussions are very advanced stage, and because it involves a lot of money and government support as well. But yes, we are going to do this campaign.
Excellent. So, if I was to ask you today, of all the people, we have around 700 people watching us right now. What do you say to them? What are the key steps one should look at when you are looking at exports as a viable option for your business?
If you talk to me about my experience, I would say uh, you must first be willing to take risk. So all business has a certain amount of risk. So be willing to take the risk. And once you have decided to take the risk, be determined to continue. Do not leave halfway, otherwise you will lose whatever money you had invested till then.
Absolutely.
So you need to be determined, plan, step by step plan, and achieve those steps one after another. So until unless you have this perseverance and you are persisting to do what you have decided, export is not simple. So that is my simple advice. Take the risk, be determined, and continue to stay on. Do not leave halfway.
One of the other factors that you also mentioned was that you took on certification of your products very early on before you ventured into international markets. A lot of entrepreneurs in India feel that India does not need very high standard products and all that. We can compromise on quality. So why even export? Why even go that length? What do you have to say about that?
Well, food safety is a big subject. If foreigners can eat good food, why can't Indian people eat good food? So if this is there in your mind, you would want your product to be safe, eatable, consumable, and a good product always sells. You will never go wrong if your product is of a high quality.
So high quality products will anyway have a market, whether in India or internationally. So
Everywhere, everywhere.
it's better to actually look at an international market, international standards from the point of view of what you are producing, because then you are anyway offsetting yourself away from the others who might be making low quality products. So
So,
that's that.
believe me, because we were exporting and we had all these certifications, we know what qualities are being sold abroad. And then when we came into the domestic market, our products are flying off the shelf because the quality is extremely good. Because we are not giving any other quality to the Indian market as well. It's the same quality, and people are loving it.
Excellent. So when we talk about, let's say, uh, finding the first few customers, how does one go about that?
Well,
Today,
that's a tough.
producers in India keep on asking this question. How do I know where which country is the most potential? How do I know where to find the buyer? Or you find me the buyer and I will try to sell to this, sell to him. So what do you say about those things?
It's a very tricky situation. What I would like to say here that in our times when I started exporting, we didn't have this Google search and this web world. So it was even more difficult to find a customer. But today's world has become so small. You do a research, an extensive research. You know who are dealing in your products. You may have to maybe talk to 1,000 people, and then you might find one customer, and that's the kind of labor you have to put. It's not easy that you will talk to 10 people and you'll have two customers. It's not like that. Maybe you'll get one out of 1,000. So that hard work has to be there.
Put in place. So,
Yes.
but it's much more easier from the times, when you started exports, because today you have the facilities of maybe 1,000 websites talking about who buys what, talking about who is exporting what is the quality, what is the price, at what, which it's being exported, and all of those things, which at maybe 15 years back was very difficult. And then
Right.
you also have markets where you can go and exhibit or attend and talk to people, talk to potential buyers, exporters, which are the most easy, which I hope will now restart because of the pandemic. 2 years we've had where there has been no market promotion activity which has happened. One of the other questions that I wanted to talk about, you did talk about the possibility of the Indian market also growing and becoming quality conscious, because we are also importing a lot of foodstuffs from all over the world, right from fruits to frozen foods and whatnot. So what do you think people those that are in the foods market or food processed foods market or the marine foods market, what should they need to do in order to look at this huge potential that seems to be there for enterprises, but somehow we are not able to maybe stabilize ourselves or sustain ourselves in terms of the activity to finally be able to attain the potential.
Yes. What I would say that the demand is there and it's growing. So when it is growing, you need to find your space. You have to believe that there is space being created every single day. So if you can find your space in that segment, you will one day be able to put yourself in those areas. So you really need to work out at what is selling where and which part, and whether it is selling more in the supermarket or it is selling more in the local shops. You need to do a little bit of research, and you need to do good packaging, good branding, and you will find your space. So even if you are a small player, you will find your space, and then that will help you multiply. So do not be disheartened that I am a too small a player to be put in a supermarket. Why not? You can. But yes, as I said, all business needs some money to put in before you get the results.
So, Yogesh ji, what about your next generation? Is your next generation joining the business?
I'm not too sure. My elder son is working in Canada, and my younger son is quite young now. He will also move on to US for further studies. Once, maybe a few years down the line, we'll have a discussion and see what's going to happen. But then our plans are that we will turn our company into a professional company, and even if they don't come back, we'll have people continuing this business.
Excellent. Because that is one of the key areas that we are seeing a lot of Indian entrepreneurs which have reached stability, which are now growing beyond, have the potential of becoming very large enterprises. Those are sort of getting stuck because, you don't have the next generation which is coming on and saying, okay, no, I want to be here and I want to grow this from now, let's say a 500 crores to a 5,000 crores possibility. And that is becoming a key situation. At the same time, what I'd also like to ask you is, we have a lot of young people that are coming out of our colleges, management colleges, and all that, and we occasionally keep on talking to them, especially in view of the Startup India, which also lays a lot of stress on startups in the agro marine processing field. So what do you have to tell them? What sort of possibilities are there in front of them, and what should they do rather than just looking for, applying for jobs?
No, I'll tell you what, in marine and aquaculture, and why only marine, even agricultural sector, a lot of new technologies are coming. Aquaponics, they're doing wonders. They should actually get into this, and productivity can increase. And if you are putting a lot of energy and brain into aquaponics and better ways of farming, the vertical farming, uh, there is a big market, and they can do much better than actually finding jobs. And again, it depends on their economic needs. So if you're an entrepreneur and you are willing to spend some energy on something new, innovative, this is the time they should get into.
If I was to tell you that, we have all these people that are watching us right now, and all of them want to know from you, what has been your base mantra for business? In terms of, all of us have something that we go by every day, and we keep on reciting it, and we say, okay, this is what's the base premise for me, and to grow my business further, or to be stable, or to become big, and all that. What has been your growth mantra?
I would say the same thing which everyone says: believe in yourself and work hard.
Excellent. Is it just work hard, or do we also need to look at the possibilities in terms of, using ingenuity, maybe innovation at some points in time? Because as a group of people, as a society, we are also very innovative at times, but we sort of.
Well, well, when we are believing in yourself and you're working hard, everything else comes in place. So innovation, research, you're working hard means you're all encompassing the all facets of life. You're not being lethargic or complacent that okay, let it happen. So work hard includes all these innovations, looking at newer things, looking at newer ways of doing the same thing.
We've a question here from one of the viewers. He says exports is perceived to be a very document heavy process. which takes a lot of times, and trade barriers often spoil the party. What do you have to
I,
say?
I will not agree to that. It's not that much document heavy. Yes, you need to do some documents. You need to be aware of what government regulations are. But then once you know them, it's quite simple. You get used to it. There's nothing to be worried about. And things are getting very, very easy these days. It's becoming online, digitalized. Everything is happening. You don't need to run to offices to get your things done anymore.
Also, what would you say about trade barriers? There are a lot of places, a lot of countries which sort of push you that okay, Indian shrimp is not allowed, or fish is not allowed for whatever rhyme or reason. So, what do you have to say about those?
World is becoming globalized. I mean, our product, we have trade barriers in the US market. Still, we are the second largest exporter to USA. So even with the barrier, we are exporting there. So it makes sense to keep trying and selling. So you have to overcome these barriers. It's not that it won't sell because USA needs material. So even if with the barriers, goods are going. So what better example can we give you?
In fact, there's another question here. Uh, I don't know what she means by this. This Smita Oswal who says most of the time we get cheated in exports. So I don't know what she has done so that she's got cheated. But the
So,
fact is
so
that you have so many agencies, so many things that you can do to prevent yourself from getting cheated. I think maybe Yogesh ji can add.
yeah, then you have to be little more smarter. Don't sell on credit and keep yourself covered under ECGC. All your exports are guaranteed by ECGC. So never forget to insure your business. That's very important. And do not sell to countries which are not in the A list or the B list. If you are selling to countries which are known to be cheaters, please don't work with them.
We also have another gentleman who is asking what is the possibility of profits in on margins. Sandesh is saying that what kind of margins can I expect from an export business, particularly in shrimp export?
Well, if you're talking about shrimp is a high volume, low margin product. So it's you need to play on the volumes more. But yes, as I was talking earlier, if we can value add, like if I can make a ready to eat, cook ready to eat products, the margins will improve.
We also have Sanjeev Verma saying that what I feel QC certification and testing facility of the product should be in place first, which we don't have in place for now. And if we talk healthcare sector, everything is compromised in the name of promoting Indian manufacturer. No, it doesn't. I don't think that's true,
I
Sanjeev.
don't agree to this. I don't agree to this.
Very correct. Because
If you're compromising on your product, you will be compromised someday or the other.
and there is lots of standards that are in place today, and Indian Bureau of Indian Standards, you have testing agencies, you have boards which do not allow untested products to be exported. So there are a lot of ways that we are actually ensuring that only the best products or only the products that meet the requirements get exported, because otherwise you will have situations where the product is sent back, and that will also mean more expenses apart from the fact that your product is returned. So there are a lot of other issues,
Absolutely.
and it's
Too
not
many
that.
issues will come up. So you have to be sincere. Sincere means like your product has to be good. If you're not sincere towards that, whether it is domestic or whether it is export, you will never be able to survive survive your business. So be sincere with your product.
I'm going to now ask you, what is your final advice to aspiring entrepreneurs which are watching this fireside chat with you?
So India is now poised for big time growth. After the pandemic, we all feel that it's going to be a V recovery. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of the world market is coming closer. We have got a chance to replace little bit about the Chinese supply chain. So the opportunities are very, very big. Get into it, find your space, and keep moving.
We've had a couple of few questions. I'd like to, if it's not a problem, I'll just list them here. I feel them interesting. This is Swapna saying that, can you please list down the list of certifications that's required for export? You'll get that from the MPEDA site, Swapna. But the question she's asking you is also if you can help us more about the minimum capital involved while starting export business.
Well, Sapna, it entirely depends upon what product you are trying to export. So, if you're talking shrimp, it's a lot of money to invest before you start exporting. But there are so many other products which are being exported. And believe me, in today's world, you can start with a small capital of maybe 1 lakh, 2 lakh, because online selling has also started. India government is supporting very small time businessmen who can get listed into Amazon USA, and then you can start your export business. This will give you a lot of exposure, and you can kickstart. So it's not that you really need a lot of money to export. Yes, food products you will need because there are a whole lot of health standards before you can export even 1 kilo out of India.
I also have sister saying that, sir, what about processed food products like pickles and healthy powder? I want to
That's a
start
big business. That's a big business. So many people are exporting all over the world. Huge
Very
business.
correct. And you rightly pointed out that, with the advent of e-commerce becoming a very, very important thing in front of all of us, almost every customer today, demand that you find in international markets is from B2B. There's almost 30% of people which are ordering online. So if you are there and if you are online and if you are able to figure out what is the competitor selling, what is the price at which he's selling, because e-commerce for all of us is like I would say a university where we cannot learn. And then you can understand what is the pricing, the packaging, the specifications, the certification, and all of that. And if you are able to come up to that, it will be very easy for you to actually list your own products without having to have a warehouse and without having to have any of those issues. So what Yogesh ji has said is very, very
Yes,
perfect. It's
Vinod,
clear.
I agree to you. I agree to you. It's a very big opportunity in the current scenario. It's very new, and whoever enters now will do much better in a few years down the line. And it's not only B2B which is working; it is also B2C which is working in these scenario. So even if you are selling one piece, but you are exporting one piece, why not?
What is your in your mind, sir, is the outlook for Indian exports vis-a-vis aquaculture or shrimp business and all that over the next 4 or 5 years? There are a lot of pundits and a lot of experts talking about a lot of numbers, but you being from the industry, what do you feel is it going to look like?
It's going to grow next 10 years. Why 4 5 years? 10 years, our industry is going to grow at least by 10 to 12% year on year.
And that
I'm
would
quite
mean
certain
that
about that.
it's basically you will find a lot more Indian entrepreneurs getting opportunities.
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
I did ask you this earlier. There's somebody else who has put in this question here. I'll ask that. That is finding money for exports very difficult. Which Yogesh ji already did talk about the fact that it is easier than finding money locally for local markets. I mean, Yogesh ji can add.
Yes, as I said earlier, that why exports? If your business is good, you can find money. Yes, initially you will need to put some money of your own. You cannot start from zero and expect bank to start your own venture. These days, there are a lot of opportunities where you get the seed funds and investors who, if your potential is good, these people can put in your first money, and then the banks and other investors come into play. It again depends on how you can convince these investors to put money in you. I know there are many people who would want to get into business but don't have capital of even 50,000 rupees. But then, as I said, your determination to get into the space will take you there.
There's also somebody who's written here that whether Yogesh sir would like to mentor me. I am trying to set up a state of the art industry in aquaculture. So Yogesh ji, that
Which
question.
part of the country you are in,
he has not put in which part there.
Yeah, so
So
since this is our seafood industry is more of a localized industry, and we have to purchase material from our local geographical region. So if you are near my factory, definitely I would love to assist you. But if you are far away from East India or West Bengal, then maybe you'll have to find somebody in your locality who can assist you. I can guide him about how to go about it, but uh, frankly speaking, I may not be able to purchase material from him or
sure.
tell him what to do. Yeah.
Sure, sir. No, in fact, mentoring, this is what we always say. All of us finally have to give back something to the society. And if we are able to support maybe 20, 30 entrepreneurs in their endeavors, not specifically of each sector, but maybe, all across sectors in terms of, how to find financing, how to do the right packaging, how to do the right marketing, branding, all of that. Even that can be a very, very big help. So, yes,
Yes.
Ajay, Yogesh ji did say that he's open. If you are in his area, he'd be very happy to support.
Yeah. Even if he's not in my area, I can write emails to me and seek whatever advice he wants. I can definitely tell him what needs to be done at every stage. So if you can share my email ID, I can be able to guide them.
Excellent, sir. It was wonderful talking to you, Yogesh ji, today, and I look forward to meeting you soon. Hopefully, and let's look at how to help Mega Moda go to the next millennium with maybe exponential growth. And you have all our best wishes for the future. And thank you very much for coming on this fireside chat. I'm sure a lot of people will get inspired by what you have said today, by your story, and I'm sure a lot of people will feel good about the about your own process from starting up and then getting into exports and then creating a big brand name for your company, and then also looking at Indian markets at the same time. So that itself is a very big possibility that everybody will be able to see from this. Sister, we will share. Please get in touch with Enterprise Matters. We will share through our mentor group. We will share Yogesh ji's number. So over to you, Bhavya.
Yeah, I just add one thing here, Vinodji. Just Bhavya, just half a second. I'll
Sure.
add one here to for all the people who are there on this chat today. That India SME Forum is a very good forum with quite a few MSME members, and they are very very up to date with all the information, the government incentives, the subsidies, the policies, and they try to support and talk to agencies on your behalf. So India SME Forum, please approach them, and they have a whole lot of database and data analytics to help you. I am always there. Some specific issues. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and thanks for allowing me to be
Thank
your
you very much,
guest
Yogesh.
today. Yeah.
It was a very insightful session, and I would like to thank Mr. Yogesh Gupta ji and Mr. Vinod Kumar ji for this wonderful, wonderful session. And with this, we come to the end of the fireside chat.